Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. It's a pleasure to be with you on a First Amendment Friday night. Your calls are welcome at 866-HEY-LARS. That's 866-439-5277. Emails go to talk@LarsLarson.com. And a lot of you were disgusted, as I was, about the illegal alien who is now accused of murdering a teenage girl in Greenville County, South Carolina, and being shielded from deportation because he was a beneficiary of the Obama DACA Amnesty program. Dale Wilcox joins me now, the executive director of the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Dale, welcome back to the program. And what should Americans make of this?
Well, it's really sad. It's another avoidable tragedy. If this individual would have been removed as the law requires, it's sadly an all too common occurrence. We've seen individuals on Obama's DACA amnesty commit crimes nationwide. I think the number is something around 2,100 of his DACA amnesty recipients have been actually removed off the program for being in gangs and committing crimes. You've even had some recent reports up your way there in Burien, Washington, where another DACA recipient mercilessly beat a lady, broke her jaw and tore her ear practically off there. It's sad. It's really sad to see this, but it's not surprising considering the Obama administration approval rate, where they were shoving through DACA applications at the rate of something like 93% approval rate. And as FOIA documents that we've seen have shown, they pretty much rubber stamped applications and engaged in lean and light background checks on DACA applicants.
You know, Dale, one of the conversations we're having is about the president's proposal for the wall, for extra funding and all that, and the question of how much he's willing to give on the subject of DACA, because clearly the Democrats are not going to give up things like the wall without something in return. I think that's the position they put themselves in, is saying, we're not just going to give this up. And I've had people ask me, well, would it be worth it if you traded DACA approval, DACA legalization for these 800,000 or so for the wall? And I've said, yes, but I think we should have some caveats. One would be to go back through all those applications, and if you find phony applications where people were not background checked and they did have criminal backgrounds and all, that you retain the right to say, we'll approve it if that's the deal that we're going to cut to get the wall and the other elements that the president wants. But all those people who defrauded the system are out of the country. All those people who committed other crimes are out of the country. What do you think of that?
I think that's what they have to do. Actually, I have a colleague who worked for USCIS, who processes the DACA applications. He was a high-level attorney there, and he said the fraud rate is something like 40 to 50% in the DACA processing. So I think it has to happen. I think that's a reasonable condition if the administration is going to give on DACA. You know, I understand the arguments that people say, oh, these are innocent kids brought here by their parents and whatnot, but you know, this is a country, we're based on the rule of law. And when else do we reward law breaking any other time? So, I mean, if somebody robs a bank, poor man robs a bank and his family experiences a windfall, we don't let the kids keep the money. So if we let these DACA individuals, which, let me clarify something. The overwhelming majority of DACA recipients are adult age. The media likes to play this like they're kids. They range from the age 15 to 36 years old. So we're not talking about toddlers here. But,
no, we're not. And Dale, the other element to this that people forget about, I'm actually doing the show on remote today. I'm outside the studio. And a gentleman walked up to me and he said, listen, when you talk about this subject, will you mention this? And I told him that I had. His wife is a Chinese national who came to the United States and has been waiting 5 years to get the clearance. I mean, she's here legally, but she wants to be cleared to be a full green card so she can then wait another 5 years to apply to be a citizen. What are we saying to all the people who've entered the United States legally at cost, some expense that's usually thousands of dollars, time that they've put into it, hoops they've jumped through, forms they've filled out, a very laborious process, and we say, you did it the right way, congratulations, but we just gave it away for free to somebody whose parents brought them over here when they were as old as 16 or 17 years of age. I would imagine that those people would say, hold on, is there one standard of the law in the United States, or are there different standards that apply to different people? But this woman isn't from Mexico. She's from China. And I think the Democrats do not see her as a potential, voter, but they do see an awful lot of Mexican and Central American immigrants as potential voters who might vote Democrat. So, we've got to work that out as well, because as a country, if we say there are two standards under the law, then we're no longer a nation of laws. We're a nation of men.
You're absolutely right. This is about fairness. Not only the legal immigrants who have gone through the process, and in fact, my wife is a legal immigrant, and I have, out of my pocket, had to expend thousands of dollars to go through the process. So not only is it insulting to those legal immigrants, but there are 4 million people who have applied to immigrate to the United States. So these people who are coming here unlawfully or visa overstayers, they're cutting in line. That's not fair to the people who are waiting for their number to come up to be able to immigrate here. We're a very compassionate country. We welcome immigrants, but we can only assimilate so many without driving down wages and causing problems of overpopulation and et cetera. The United States admits more immigrants a year than any other nation on earth. And we've got to do what's best for the American people here. And as we see in this tragic case where this girl was murdered, this would not have happened but for the Obama amnesty. And the only problem I have with saying, okay, let's let all the DACA individuals stay, obviously it's not fair, but also, when has an amnesty in this country ever worked? In 1986, we instituted the first amnesty. At that time, they said there might be 1.5 million illegal aliens in the country. Something like 3 million stepped forward. Okay, yep. So they came forward and we said, this is it. One time, we're done. We're going to pass the laws to make it tougher on employing illegal aliens. We'll never have to do this again. Here we are 30 years later. And
That's right. And Dale Wilcox is the executive director of the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Dale, you make a great point. I'm up against the clock, but if we do it again, we will get another influx of illegals, and we'll be right back in this same conversation 10 or 20 years from now.